He said I was just a friend, but kissed me like I was his world. I always knew falling for your best friend was a bad idea. But life doesn't ask for permission when it wants to mess with your heart. Noah and I met during our freshman year of college. He sat next to me in an intro to psychology class and cracked a joke about the professor's bow tie. I laughed, not because it was that funny, but because there was something about the way he looked at me, like we already shared a secret. We became inseparable fast. Late-night library sessions turned into midnight pizza runs, then early morning coffee rituals. We were each other's person. I watched him fall in and out of love with a string of girls who never really saw him for who he was. I heard every breakup story, every frustration, and he watched me date guys who were never really the one. But at least that's what he kept saying, and I kept pretending to believe it until that night. It was my birthday. I turned 26 and didn't want a party. I just wanted Thai takeout, red wine, and someone who knew me well enough not to ask questions. Noah showed up with all three, and a chocolate cupcake with a single candle. We sat on my couch, knees touching, wine glasses in hand. The city lights glowed beyond the window. I remember laughing at something stupid he said, and then catching my breath when he looked at me. Too long, too quiet. "Can I ask you something?" he said, voice low. "Sure," I replied, already feeling my heart race. "Have you ever wondered what would happen if we weren't just friends?" My breath caught. I stared at him, trying to read his face. "Why are you asking?" He shrugged, eyes still on mine. "Because sometimes I think I'm lying to myself when I call you my best friend. Sometimes I think it's more than that." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My brain was screaming, finally, while my heart didn't quite trust it. Then he leaned in and kissed me. Not a tentative, uncertain kiss, but one full of years of what-ifs and late-night glances. One that said everything we both refused to admit. He kissed me like I was his world, and I kissed him back like I'd been waiting forever. We didn't sleep together that night. We just stayed on the couch, tangled together in a silence that felt more intimate than anything else. But the morning after was different. He was quiet, distant. He said he needed to think, that he didn't want to ruin what we had. And then, like a cliche, he said the words I never wanted to hear. "I think we should pretend it didn't happen. Let's just be friends. Just be friends." I nodded, smiled, pretended it didn't break me, and watched him walk away like the night before hadn't changed everything. For weeks, I tried to move on. I threw myself into work, deleted photos of us off my phone, avoided our usual coffee shop. But every time I passed someone who smelled like his cologne or heard a song he used to hum, I was right back in that moment, feeling his lips on mine, hearing his heartbeat through his t-shirt. I started dating someone else, a sweet, quiet graphic designer named Liam. He was kind, thoughtful, safe. And I tried, really tried to fall in love with him. But every time he reached for my hand, I wished it was Noah. The final blow came 3 months later. Noah showed up at my door, flowers in hand, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "I can't do it," he said. "Do what?" I asked, not ready for the answer. "Pretend. I thought pushing you away would protect us, but all it did was make me miserable." I stood frozen. "You were never just a friend, Claire," he said. "I was just too scared to lose you." I wanted to scream. I had imagined this moment 100 times, but in none of them did I feel this conflicted. "Do you know what it felt like," I said, "to be told I was just a friend right after you kissed me like that?" He nodded, and I regret it every day. Silence stretched between us. Then he whispered, "I love you." I looked at him and realized I still loved him too. But I also realized something else. Love wasn't just about passion and timing. It was about trust. And mine, it was cracked. "I need time," I said. "If you really mean this, prove it. Not just with words, but with consistency." He nodded, stepped forward, and gently placed the flowers on the table. "I'll wait," he said, "as long as it takes." A year passed. We rebuilt, slowly. He became the guy who showed up for me, not just in grand gestures, but in the little things. Bringing soup when I was sick, proofreading my writing, calling just to hear my voice. He never kissed me again until I kissed him. That second kiss was less desperate, but filled with something stronger, certainty. This time, when he kissed me, I didn't feel like I was falling. I felt like I had landed. And that's how I fell in love with the boy who once told me I was just a friend, but kissed me like I was everything. It's one thing to fall in love with your best friend. It's another to learn how to be lovers after years of being just friends. At first, everything felt like a dream. Holding hands in public, waking up next to each other on Sunday mornings, saying "I love you" out loud instead of keeping it locked behind silence. But once the honeymoon glow faded, reality showed up at our door. We knew everything about each other's pasts, but now we had to learn everything about each other's present hearts. No one knew how I liked my coffee and that I cried during dog commercials, but he didn't know how much I needed reassurance in a relationship. I knew he hated traffic and loved horror movies, but I didn't know how easily he shut down during arguments. Our first real fight happened 6 weeks in, over something stupid, laundry, of all things. But it wasn't really about socks on the floor. It was about fear, vulnerability, expectations. We'd spent so many years pretending not to love each other that suddenly being in love felt fragile, like one wrong move would shatter it. "I don't want to lose you again," I whispered through tears. "You won't," he said. "Not unless you walk away." That night, we made a promise. We wouldn't run, not from hard conversations, not from fears, not from each other. and slowly, the awkwardness of making the shift faded. We started building new memories that weren't tied to our friendship's past. Weekend trips, cooking disasters, whispered confessions at 3 a.m. We learned that loving someone who knows your soul, because they see it all, your light, your mess, your wounds. But Noah didn't flinch. One evening, as we watched the city lights from the same couch where he'd once kissed me for the first time, he turned to me and said something that made me pause. "I think I always knew it would be you. Even when I was with other people, it was always you." And just like that, the final piece of my doubt cracked open. We were no longer a story about missed chances. We were something real, something intentional. A year later, he proposed. Not with a grand gesture, no flash mob, no fireworks. Just a quiet Sunday morning, pancakes in the pan, and a ring hidden in the coffee jar I always used. I found it while reaching for beans and gasped. He was standing behind me, holding a mug, grinning like a fool. "Marry me?" he said. That's it. No speech, just 2 words that felt like home. I cried. I laughed. I said yes with pancake batter on my shirt and coffee grounds on my fingers. Because life isn't always a movie. Sometimes it's a messy kitchen and a man who once broke your heart, now holding it gently. They say friendship is the foundation of love. Maybe that's true. But I think real love begins when you stop hiding behind labels. Just friends, almost something, too late, and start showing up fully. Noah and I could have stayed in the friend zone forever, but one kiss changed everything. And the second time we chose each other, it changed more than everything. It changed me.